Welcome to Sambhashana's special series Women in Newsroom, where we are celebrating women in the newsroom who continue to inspire us with their perspectives and powerful narratives. Today, I'm deeply honored to introduce Dr. Asha Krishnaswamy, a distinguished senior journalist, political analyst, and a media educator. Dr. Asha headed the political bureau at Deccan Herald and also had a brief stint at AIR Bangalore. With over 3 decades of experience, Asha has covered everything from the corridors of power in Vedant Sauda to international summits across the globe. Today, an independent journalist, she shares her perspectives through television debates and her personal blog. Asha, welcome to the special series Women in Newsroom.
Thank you
And
for
I'm
inviting me.
deeply honored to have you here. And, I'm very, very happy to meet you after a very long time.
Same here.
Yeah. And I must mention this to you. My respect to you has twofolded for the amount of paperwork that you've done, the contributions that you've done to media studies. It's amazing. I'm actually blown with the kind of, you gave me a profile of 5 pages and I was a little lost. What is that I have to read and what is that I do not have to read in that? It is so much of work. How did you manage with a full time job and side hustles, or it's a full time hustle? How did you manage both this together and 500 research papers? How did you manage all this?
Uh, it just happened, I didn't do any managing. There is no scheme as such or decision. Once I take up any work, whether I'm in kitchen or in newsroom, I give 100%.
That keeps going on all the time on your head.
Yeah. No, I see if I am in the morning, I enter kitchen until I complete cooking for the whole day. I don't come out.
Oh, okay.
When I'm listening to music, I listen, I don't read at that time. So when I joined the field, I had decided it should be 100%. There should be no lapses or regrets from my side. That's it.
That's
When I took up research work, of course, it was a challenging because I was chief reporter, and being chief reporter of a busy paper and then managing research, that is PhD work, was very challenging. It took a lot of my time, and health was an issue at that time. My mother was also ailing. But I usually separate. When I'm sitting with you, I don't think of anything else. Okay.
It's like live the moment, be with the moment at that point of time. It's very important, Allah. Yes, yes.
Otherwise, you can't do justice to it.
Absolutely. Parallelly, you were also teaching, Allah. You were teaching, and now you are an independent journalist, and you do a lot of other things as well in terms of your, you go represent, different panels and all that. Now, teaching is close to your heart, or journalism close to your heart?
Uh, Again, the same replay. When I'm in classroom, I'm 100% teacher.
Okay.
And see, because I headed a lot of teams, from 2004 to 17, continuously I was heading different teams.
Yes.
So that was also a sort of lab teaching only. But classroom teaching is little different. It is more disciplined. So it is not much difference, because in both this one I had to keep myself abreast with developments.
Yeah, because you are in the teaching field and the political thing.
Students are very smart in this internet era. We need to be on our toes.
Yes.
So, but when it comes to telling a story, it has to be journalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what we'll do today is, now coming back to our core discussion, we'll kind of go a little deeper into your journey and then your DH career and your teaching career, and at the end, obviously your experience with the political newsroom. And in the end, I have a surprise, a fun element for you. It's a very thing that's a little fun. I think after talking something very heavy as a subject, in your field, let's do a little lighter conversation at the end. Now, to begin with, how did you actually enter into journalism? Because during your era, we never had social media, right? And you would have just started, but how did this happen for you? And like, you were destined, or you wanted to get into journalism and you studied your PhD, or how was this?
I'm basically a science graduate. Physics,
Wow,
chemistry,
this is
maths.
interesting.
Yeah. I wanted to be a doctor, or my mother dreamt of that, but I could not get because of the scoring. And then I got an engineering seat that was out of Bangalore, which my parents could never think of sending me out of Bangalore. That was in Bagalkot. At that time, Bagalkot was notorious for its backwardness.
Yes.
So I had to do BSc. I wanted to do MSc in physics. I didn't get seat. I got in chemistry, which I didn't like. So I decided, okay, let me. My father was, he had a fair good idea how a newsroom works. Okay. And he was subscribing newspapers, and he used to make me and my brother read newspapers while he was attending to morning work,
Yeah.
We must read loud because Kannada was a challenge for me and my
Right.
brother to read. So he made us acquaint with though I'm a Kannadiga, reading was a bit challenge. Writing is still a challenge for me. But that's how, I started reading newspaper somewhere. I thought after doing BSc, let me not do whatever is offered by university. Why not try for some competitive exams?
Okay.
Then I started reading a lot. I made best use of Rajajinagar City Central Library. I used to sit there for hours together and read a lot. That's how, news became something which I started liking.
This passion has brought you to this profession.
I don't call it as passion. Let me not use bombastic word. But I was driven to this. And then I joined as a project assistant in Tata Institute as a biochemistry lab.
Yes.
One day my professor called me, Professor Kurup and Professor Sharma also. They were heading the department. They said, we would like to see you as a student here. Come here as a project assistant. Get back to university. Same day I resigned. For me, quitting is very easy.
Lucky you are.
Yeah.
But I also saw that you did a little bit of All India Radio. You worked, and then some public information officer also. You just
Yes.
and at DH, you like 15 years is a long time.
No, more than that. 20.
More than that, 20 years. Okay, I got that.
It's okay.
So that 20 years is a long time. So, and you have covered development sector, you have covered culture, entertainment, and everything. But coming up to cover it, large portion was politics, right? So, how was a political newsroom from your experience? Could you just give an idea of what is the scenario, when you see a political newsroom?
See, the basic definition of politics is party politics and policy process. I and my colleagues, some of my colleagues were quite good at that, understanding the policies. That started making me take interest in political reporting.
Okay.
See, I started as a city reporter and I was covering city corporation. At that time, Gautam Achaya was my contemporary and Nahi Dattaullah of Times of India. And we were all one team. We were covering BBMP. That time it was city corporation. I think BMP it was. So we started enjoying the policy process. See,
Yes.
everything boils down to policy.
Policies, right now.
And then to understand an issue better, because when you're in a paper like Hindu or Deccan Herald or Times of India, you can't just write something and get away. That's you need to go to the core, understand,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
then disseminate. And then we started, I started interacting with officers, bureaucrats. Then I realized that is politicians are also, in tune with whatever is happening in finance sector, development. It could be rural development or anything, So that is how I started deciphering journalism or political reporting is not just covering election. Elections happen once in 5 years.
Yes.
Okay. And especially English newspapers don't go after small developments also unless
Exactly.
there is major coup. We don't cover.
Yeah.
So what we were doing was budget. Budget we covered.
It's a big
I
thing,
did,
yeah.
I did how many years I budgeted.
yes,
That
yes.
is one. And everything is policy there. And I started understanding the beauty of on other side. How do you visualize? Like say for example, Aadhaar. How does Aadhaar work? Unless I know, how do I comment on Aadhaar scheme? So that's how, we started liking the subject in depth. And then party politics, yes, elections do come, but majority of people who watch television, they think that going behind a politician holding a mic is politics.
Okay.
No, it is not.
No, when I studied public policy, and it's all we learn about policy. It's all about working with communities and how you, you kind of do a PIL and many other things. So politics or covering is much more than those campaigns. When you say politics, women in politics, do you still think it's a male-dominated, what you say, space from where you work, or has it changed over the years?
You mean reporting?
Yes, yes.
In my experience, it is a different story.
Okay.
In Deccan Herald, Prajavani, a lot of opportunities were given to women. Who made use of it and who didn't, I shouldn't be commenting. But when I joined in early 90s, I saw a lot of women in reporting section. I worked under a lady chief reporter for 7 years. And it was not, in English journalism, it was not something shocking. Oh, women work. No. Crime reporters. I had seen a lady crime reporter during Kaveri riots.
Yes.
Defying not one section, section 144. It was curfew. Kaveri riots.
Yeah.
Defying that, a women crime reporter was covering so many, sensitive issues. And that day I was also on duty. Some of us could not go home. We were put up in a hotel, Church Street, because the city was burning. Women were doing a lot of this. But unfortunately, over a period, I see women not getting into any, if you call that as the tough beats, politics, crime, court. It saps up your energy and time. So usually women want to settle in. By 5 o'clock, they want to wind up. So when I joined, Kanchan Kaur was there, Sandhya Mendonka, Malika Prabhu, Gayatri Nivas, Daksha Hathi was doing such wonderful stories.
Yes,
C.K. Meena, they were all inspiring. Many of them were inspiring. And especially C.K. Meena and Daksha Hathi, they were so focused. So they were guiding me also sometimes. I could walk up to them and it was not.
You had
very
good
surprising.
mentors.
Mentors, not. I don't call them as mentors, but by their enthusiasm, I learned many things.
Yes. Yes.
By seeing an active journalist, you also get inspired. But at the same time, men also were very. They could. They created opportunities, I can say, and I created opportunity for myself.
Okay.
So I was there. I never took anything lightly, any assignment. It could be just a simple city brief item or a political. I didn't design. I didn't work towards it. I was very happy with. Actually, I started my career on desk. 3 years I was on desk. Happily, I was coming and quietly going. One day I wrote a story on something to do with Bangalore and greenery. At that time, Mr. Ramakrishna Hegde was ex-chief minister, I think. He had given a very sensible statement. I felt every house should grow 2 trees.
2 trees. Yeah, yeah.
So I worked on that, and then how Bangalore is losing greenery. I wrote a story and it went on page 1, anchor. I was on desk at that. So then the then editor, owner, Mr. Hari Kumar, decided to bring me to reporting. I was hell-bent on not coming to reporting. Okay. I wasn't too confident whether I can manage. I was very happy with stories, doing stories. That's all. I never fought or made space like that. So I went on leave also, sort of a protest. And then when I came back, my news editor said, no, Mr. Hari Kumar has noted on whatever decision he has taken in his diary. No way, when are you joining?
Okay.
Then I thought, okay, let me come to reporting. And then I never had the opportunity to get back to desk.
All right.
That's it.
For whatever work that I have been following of yours, because I know you're very dynamic, you'd say never die, and you have given your best. But are there any challenges, even though you have taken everything head on and opportunities came, but according to you, had you had to face any challenges?
Plenty. As a woman,
Would you want
as
to
a
share?
journalist, one is all the time you have to prove that you are worth the position you hold.
Yeah.
Not a single day I could relax.
I think that holds good for
goes for
all women. I feel
all women.
I don't know about the men, but there are, even they have to prove. But I think for women, it's a constant challenge. Allah.
Constant challenge.
I think you have to prove your worth every day.
It's not the question of losing job. It is a question of dignity
Yeah.
and
Self-respect.
self-respect.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that's the challenge I faced. And in my case, the management, all men, 3 men, Mr. Hari Kumar, Mr. Shad Kumar, Mr. Tilak Kumar, they never had any negative biases against women. They never, for them, gender never was a consideration to give any position.
Lucky to have people like that.
Yeah. Maybe the top post, even today, not occupied by a woman in Deccan Herald.
You know, I always see that. I have a very famous line, Asha, just sharing with you, saying that women do not get a space in boardroom. I'm like, the other day I attended a formal event. Out of 5 women, there was only 1 woman there. I think the ratio is, not balanced, I feel. And out of my experience, it's been a constant struggle. I have seen,
Struggle,
yeah.
but in my team, I had a good number of women journalists. I was heading the team, and then I was seeing some of their attitude was, I always tell I used to tell my editor also, how is the team? I used to tell him that I'm working not with 14 or 16 reporters, with 14, 16 egos I'm working. It's not easy. But women, whenever, I mean, some of them like Miss Bala Chauhan, and I can name few, they accepted all the challenges and they created a good, record for themselves. But there were women who wanted to leave by 5 o'clock, and some people used to call me from home saying that I can't go for press conferences because I have some issues. So every time I had to accommodate. You can be accommodative, but at that time there was no social media or this kind of technology-driven media. It wasn't, no.
Yes.
And if the management expect us to be in newsroom, I can't say that you mail the story. They used to. So I used to be the one who used to get all the brickbats. But that is the way the management wanted. Of course, the COVID saw editions coming from sitting, in
Sitting,
places.
yeah, sitting
So
at wherever
it is
we are.
changing.
I know.
But motivating ourselves and then being an inspiration to others, that is the biggest challenge. Every day, whatever the management, say, for example, if a story is not liked by the editor, he may tear it apart. But once I come out of the newsroom, editorial meeting, I can't tell because reporter must, they spend their whole day or
Balance here and there.
yeah. So telling reporters, no, don't do this kind of stories. It is not a selling thing. That was a big challenge because this is after all a knowledge field, media.
Yes.
It used to be.
Yes.
And then there are usually my team had all postgraduates and very highly educated, like Vijesh Kamath. He is no more, unfortunately, and Raghunandan, Satish, Krishna Kumar. I can name Neena Benjamin, who heads now City Deccan Herald. They're all good. They're very good. They all have their own idea of journalism, their own vision. They want to do certain things. If they are always discouraged, then I become the villain. Then striking a balance is the biggest challenge.
But DH office for VPR people, and I think I'm not very sure how many of them do media rounds now. I do not have that understanding. But for us, it was a day-to-day job to come. But DH had that some kind of an aura when you come, go to the old building and everything. It's all that for us. Prajamani Narayan Rao was our go-to man, sir. Sulpa Madkodi sir. So whatever it is, and there were other people. Mahesh Kulkarni sir, when I was in Akshay Patra, quite a lot of times I've come. But then, when you come to DH and stand for all of them to wait, acknowledge us when those 2 long rows of people sitting there, okay? And I used to come and meet Neena quite a lot, and because when I did my artwork and all that, she covered a lot of my bottle art, 2-3 pieces also. So we had come in, like, I think when we, for our, like, your old era, ours also, DH times, like, it was a day in and day out for us. So DH is like got a special place because we have come many times just there, okay?
City paper we had to.
Yes.
Naturally, uh, anybody would like to see their name or photo in Deccan Herald.
Yes,
It's a local daily,
yes, it
and
is.
jostling for space there, and for desk also, it is always a challenge how to create space when advertisement, there is so much advertisement
Yes.
pressure, and which is PRPs, which is really worth covering. Nowadays that line has disappeared.
Another thing, what I wanted to ask you is 500 plus pieces only for DH. That's what, and plus more than that. Okay. Out of all these stories, is there any special piece which has given you that edge or kind of brought you some limelight or given you a bit of a fame or something? Is there any stories that you would like to share with us?
Mm, every story I wrote is my baby.
Or anything which has really put you on the edge or say this was quite challenging, going around and
Whatever stories I thought is very challenging and I presented it. My immediate boss, he is no more, Mr. N. Sekundura, he never commented. One day I did a very simple story like, a KSRTC bus is converted into a school room for nomadic kids in Bangalore. In Tilaknagar, it was parked. I went and I did a story about how children are making use of that.
you also covered quite a lot on the development sector.
Development sector. So for him, till my last conversation, he used to tell me that is the best story. But I mean, it was a very simple story, walking up to a bus and then seeing and many stories. Like I did a series of stories on mining, Ballari and surrounding districts mining. I mean, I had developed good contacts and I could get the Lokayukta report. And nobody, the whole media was struggling to get, and then I had it for 3 days. I didn't write because it was quite difficult for me to read and process it also. Because big names were there and, not a single mistake should happen. So by the time I had put up a lot of stories on mining also, and my colleagues also had done field visits, Raghunandan and then Satish, who is now with Hindu in Shumaka. They had also done stories, but in my case, I developed very good contacts, and then I could go deeper into that, and then it became a big story on page one, and especially Prajavani gave a lot of importance to that.
Were there any threats to you, like when you cover such?
No. My first such story was when Mr. Ramesh, he's also no more Congress leader, was Kannada and Culture Minister. He was indicted in Kunigal firing case. That report I got when I was just starting my career, okay. And I didn't have the report, but somebody called me and said this minister has been indicted for killing one person. So finally, B report was filed. I filed the story, and then whole media has to sit up and do a follow up. It wasn't easy for them also because Saturday I chose to file the story. Sunday they didn't have sources to. It was fun to. And that was one very, my father was a bit worried because I used to pass through on two-wheeler in front of his bungalow, government bungalow near race course. And then he forced me to apply leave for 2 days. I said, Dad, he won't bother. As long as he's a minister, he won't. He had to resign and then, and then another story which I recall is when Rajkumar passed away, Rajkumar kidnapped. I was handling.
We were kids that time, I remember.
Rajkumar death procession was a big challenge because the reporters who went to the field could not come back. There were deaths happening, and then had very limited resources, but we did a wonderful job. And I was when Rajkumar was kidnapped, I had developed a contact in Kollegal, that area. And then I wanted to, somebody said, I am in touch with Rajkumar, I will take you. His name, Ponnachi Mahadev, Ponnachi. And then I had agreed, it happened in Mr. Yediyurappa's house. He had called us for lunch, and then I met him and they said, where I will go. So I had met and I was about to go. Then Kollegal MLA, Mahadev Prasad, he called me in the evening
And he said, ma'am, already we have enough problems on hand. Please don't venture into forest.
Okay.
It's all not advisable.
At the end of the day,
Protection.
it's your safety concern, right?
Safety
Yeah.
concerns. That way, it never, I was not scared of anything. That is one opportunity missed, I feel, even today. But for this one, otherwise, a lot of stories and a lot of fun also. I mean, I never took.
And knowing you, because you are very
once,
adventurous.
Political, some elections were on, and I think Mr. H.D. Kumaraswamy was a chief minister. We were asked to come out with a supplement, political election supplement, and we were always, deadlines, and then 2 o'clock it has to hit the market. The byline which went, Kumaraswamy's interview, Asha Kumaraswamy. I was so used to utter Kumaraswamy because of hectic political developments, coalition, and then I had not realized it. One of my colleagues had seen, but he didn't tell me because he thought, I may get nervous to attend editorial meeting. I happily went to editorial meeting. I was proudly sitting that, see, we have come out. And then Mr. Shant Kumar lit the paper. He said, who is this new reporter? Then I realized, okay, it has become commercial, but he never pulled me.
Okay.
So that kind of, we take it in our stride. And, it's fun always. The best way to relax in a newsroom, what we used to do was stand before television and watch crime stories. Full fun. Local channels, no?
Yeah.
The way they present and,
God.
and one good advice I had, my editor had given was, if there is any heated arguments or some skirmish in your section, just go out for a walk. It won't be a problem next day or next moment. Don't try to settle at that helped a lot. And you asked me whether any incident which really, that is my plus point was that in entire Karnataka so far, no governor has given interview while in office. But when Mr. Bharadwaj was the governor, I got an interview of Bharadwaj. And
That's
that
amazing.
was BJP. Yediyurappa was a chief minister. Church blasts and attacks were going on at that time. And then I had asked his PA or PS or OSD, Ms. Sharada was there. I sent one fax, at that time fax, okay. And she said appointment given. Before going, I asked my immediate boss, do you have some questions to ask? Because he had a lot of exposure to Delhi media and he knew Bharadwaj. He said, no, you knew munde hogi madi. And then I had taken a set of questions and then I had taken a junior reporter also because that's my way of training, youngsters. So I got a very good interview. The headline was, I will start reviewing Law and Order. Governor himself saying, I'll start traveling from Bidar to Bangalore. That is a big story, Q&A. And then he has spoken as a chancellor. He had spoken about education also, higher education sector. I had 2 stories. I came, I explained, and it was recorded also, the interview. And then I started filing the story and it was there by 8:30. Then the drama started in newsroom. Whether to publish, how to kill the story, and then it went on till 10 o'clock. Okay. By that time, Prajavani had translated my story.
Okay.
The then editor, Mr. Shant Kumar, had said, it is Asha's story, you take it. That is the confidence he had. Here, I don't know what they didn't, in Deccan Herald, seniors did not explain me what is the problem with the story. Then some drama went on and it was reduced to just 350 or 400 words. But Prajavani took it as lead.
Full.
At one point, my junior told me, Asha, withdraw the copy. Why should we struggle here to push that copy? I said, no, I'm not going to. I'll watch what they will do. Let it come as city brief. I don't mind. But it should not be from my side that I withdrew the story. We have not done any crime. It is, we have told the so-called boss that, I'm going to interview governor. Later, it was published inside, and next day, everybody was after Governor's Rajbhavan. They wanted, he gave interview to Times of India. But I have that.
And you had the first one.
and at that time it was very see who brought down almost the government, Yediyurappa's government. Finally, Bharadwaj governor was there, and then there was a lot of political pressure. Developments were happening behind the screen. How BJP stabbed its own leader. Everything I was seeing, but many things I could not write. And then at that time, one story which I lost, I could have hit the headlines. It would have drawn Delhi's attention. Was a person by name Arun. He called me and he gave me all the scams files to me. He said, I want to give you, meet me in particular hotel he gave. Then I was hesitant because I was not sure after this governor's story getting
What's going to be the repercussion
butchered,
after this?
Then I told my junior, let you just go and see the files. Then he went, he met the gentleman, every file he had to show how a lot of irregularities had taken place. And then he said, Bam, that would be the story. Then I went and spoke to the same whoever I mentioned. Then he said, let me see. Even Prajavani was lukewarm response. The functioning editor, not the owners. I never bypassed my seniors and went to the management. That was not my style of functioning. If you are my chief, I'll come
Everyone
to you
has
only.
a way of working, style of
So
working.
many journalists, especially women reporters, I don't want to name them, they try to bypass me to meet the editor and get the stories published. No, according to me, if the story merits page one or anywhere, it will come on its own. Who would like to kill stories, unless it is like governors or scam stories, Scam, unfortunately, we lost it, and then it went to Vijay Karnataka. The editor said, if Asha is failing, I'll be the happiest person, you give it to her. And then even Times of India later, we had to...
But sometimes when you want to, when a publication
It
as
was
an
given
organization...
on a platter. It's not that I went after the story. Because of the stories I had, or the career I had built, that person trusted me and he took me into confidence.
On this, when you talk about scams, Asha, when an organization, or when a publication covers scam, I'm like, do they have to face a lot of repercussions or some kind of negative bit of it because you're covering their scams, Allah?
It depends on their equation with see, if it is real estate, they are the biggest advertisers. So we were at one point, I was under a lot of pressure. We had to come out with a lot of investigative reports. I started a series to show how builders are encroaching on river, tank bird, and then a lot of irregularity. At that time, an IAS officer on revenue department portal, he had put up maps, every all details, whichever buildings had come, it was where they have violated the government norms. But when it was running, the management had to come out with a real estate supplement. That time it stopped suddenly. And then it happened in case of Nice Road, Kenny. Mr. Kenny, when we had access to all the records to show how a lot of irregularities had taken place in handing over the land to, company, that gentleman, Kenny, is a good contact of mine. Still, he walked in and he said, sir, he jocularly, he said, send her bouquets as long as she's alive. And you remember Malgudi Manju, who had played that Malgudi series. And he was PR there.
The child artist.
He was working for Mr. Kenny. He had come. He was an eyewitness to all this. But we stopped the series in the middle. But what happens is it gives a wrong impression. Once you start a series of showing the murky deals in government, it has to be sustained. Otherwise, chief reporter or reporters will be suspected. We need to have that kind of consistency, and we need to be very clear. We had to, if we are told we had to face whatever the consequences, we should be ready. We know if we take our head-on real estate, mafia, then you will not get ads. Are you ready for that? When it happened in case of mining. Mr. Janardhan Reddy never called me Never asked me. Actually, he invited me for his daughter's wedding also. No pressure, zero pressure. See, these politicians are like this. As long as you don't encroach upon their business,
Yeah.
right?
On this note, just wanted to ask you this. I'm curious to ask you. See, you, from a publication point of view, as a woman, in politics or in journalism, you kind of go and take so many challenging newses and you cover, you track, you do a little bit of investigative journalism and all. What are the kind of security that, from an publication or from an organization that they give you, because you're going and you're facing all these challenges? Is there some kind of security that they provide you?
No. At least I had never asked. Senior journalists, we never discuss story ideas because we are very
Secretive.
protective about our, But before going to Kolar, a lot of sand mining is happening even today. Narsapura, there one lorry, Karnataka Lorry Owners Association led me to that place to show how illegal sand mining is happening. After they took me, they disappeared.
Wow.
I was like, it is an Afghan bombarded area, and I had to come out with because I had to take pictures. Then I had to come out with. I saw there is a network. I know, and with
Very
sickles,
strong the network is.
with sickles, and then one doubt they get, the whole network gets activated, and they started monitoring my movements. Then I had to tell one guy who asked me, "Yake picture tegita idira, entry marta idira?" I said I was cool. No, my mother is from Kolar. She is in US. Of course, she is from Kolar. Half truth. Okay, I want to show her the lake which was alive. Where is that? I said, "Adala satoitu." Then can I take pictures and show her? Like that, I did. And it should have gone on page one, I felt, but it appeared. So for me, it was a very satisfying. That kind of risk I had taken, and you don't get any protection as
But
such.
do you think that when organizations should kind of give you that kind of confidence when you're going out in the field and
We
you
don't
are
ask, no.
risking? You don't ask.
I never asked. Give me. But once in Vidhan Sabha, assembly was on. There was this coalition drama was there. Mr. Yediyurappa, Chief Minister, some MLAs were suspended. There was ruckus there, and that was a battlefield. Mr. Shankar Bidri was police commissioner at that time. He had come to usually Khaki don't come to assembly, no, but
Yes.
he had to come, and there was chaos. That was the worst scenario in politics I had seen. I and one of my colleagues was pushed to assembly. We are not supposed to enter. We had to remain in reporters' gallery, but we were forced there. And then everything was getting recorded. That was one. That kind of chaos I have not seen.
Also, you did a lot of deep research in media studies and understanding the psychology of these politicians also. One of your research papers on this. But, from the other side, when you look at how do politicians actually absorb the news, or I'm like, does it really matter to them that something is getting published in the newspapers?
Yeah, they used to be sensitive earlier.
Yeah.
When social media was not to this extent creating havoc, they used to be very sensitive, especially a paper like Prajavani or Hindu carrying serious stories or exposing their illegal activities, or if there are any lapses in the department. But now I think over a period, every politician is a reporter. With their social media platforms.
Yes.
So they don't care much now. I'm not saying that are insensitive. They are insensitive to a certain extent, and also it's okay. You're right.
You're right,
I
and
know.
they just take.
I know how to face people. So that attitude has come.
Okay.
So according to me, journalism is no more. It is only content creation we are doing.
Now,
Whether it is newspapers, basically. Newspapers to a certain extent, even today, respectable papers doing journalism. Otherwise, journalism is almost dead. It is content.
Asha, I also read one piece of yours where Siddaramaiah has two agencies, to one for PR and one for social media. Now, this is very common, what you say, these days it's become very common and it's become very obvious. Like Modi ji also has through his election that every time he has a strategist and all that. What I wanted to understand from you is what are some of your insights from these political campaigns when it comes PR driven or social media driven, because right now it's a game changing. Every the Twitter and the social media, I'm like, they kind of shape these narratives. I just wanted to understand from your perspective, because you've seen both the era. You've seen without social media and without right now the way narratives are being shaped on social medias. I want to understand your views on the way things are just going.
To certain extent, we can create narratives. I worked for a war room in 2018.
The
So
political
I
war
was
room.
a political war room. And even today I work for a political clients, you cannot build a false story and sustain it for long. People are very smart. Okay. So if during elections, if you don't promise anything, then you cannot create narratives, right? So they promise guarantees or whatever. So there has to be certain facts on which any politician can work. Only talking doesn't take them, it is
Your report
say,
card comes
social
after 5
media,
years.
social media can echo chambers, how long it will work. People are smart. As I said, every citizen has turned into a reporter. He will say, now every scheme is being evaluated by people. So it is not that only some foreign university will evaluate your schemes. They will give you a report. It doesn't, they'll condemn such, or they don't even take note of it. That's the,
On that note, see, right now, it's very obvious that we are seeing the social narrative, that whatever social media is covering, and they do the breaking news.
Yes,
Before even coming on, for me, last time also, one of a very known celebrity, he reported something, and next day that was covered in the newspaper, second page. Now the way things are just going on, I'm like, what do you think that because newspapers are losing what you say. The initial thing of going and sourcing a story, it's readily available on the social pages, and they just kind of publish it next day. What are your thoughts? Where is this heading? Initially, they used to go source stories. They used to reach out to PR. They have their sources, because we have seen, and they kind of tip them off to give their bylines and breaking news.
Yeah.
But everything is right now available publicly, and next
beyond
day,
that, we had to go. That is a challenge. Still journalism can be, it can sustain, it can be beautiful stories we can put up, provided we have that zeal to go beyond social media one-liners or two-liners, breaking story. When I was covering, when Mr. Nandan Nilekani was heading Aadhaar, he had contested elections also, no?
which he
He lost.
win.
So at that time, every day we were asking his office, has he resigned? Has he resigned? One day, finally, his team member said, TV9 Nodi, he said. And then the scrolling was coming. He has resigned. Only one line. He had not even, I think he had tweeted. Just one line tweet, he has resigned. And so from there, we had to pick stories.
Yeah.
And then there is a lot of challenge. Going behind both are a big challenge.
If social media, other social media platforms, if they become the primary source of breaking the news, and what is the relevance of having these newspapers on? Because like you said, we woke up to read newspapers every day morning, right? Those are the days that we come from, and now things are changing a lot.
Things are changing. News kosa tagolteva paper, or do I get stuff beyond news? And I think newspapers should cater to cultural, a lot of cultural, events are happening in a city like Bangalore. Every street has something. That I think we have moved away from. All, even Kannada dailies, they don't give much coverage for cultural entertainment, both. Infotainment is the era, no? That, television and social media they don't give in-depth stories. So if you can give food for thought through your writing, if you can be unbiased, still people would like to read. But unfortunately, even I was in US, I wanted to see one hard copy of the famous New York Times or Washington Post. I couldn't get. No, they said we don't. Even online subscription people have stopped doing. So it is a very challenging.
You've been both on the teaching side, you've even taught journalism students, PR, media studies, and well. I wanted to understand from you, from your perspective, what is that you think about a PR professional? Are they kind of helped you out, or just wanted to understand your perception of PR professionals?
Being in
Or the other way around also. What do you think?
being in DH, we had our own inhibitions about PR. And,
It's okay, you can say that. Let's take it as a learning.
no, I mean, usually pushing their agenda is the one thing. But PR helps in crisis management. When ex-MLA of Nanjangud, Mr. Harshvardhan was in news for all the wrong reasons in his constituency because a temple was demolished at that time. I was through a PR agency. I was doing crisis management for him. The content which I had to produce, it doused down the problem. That sort of political war rooms or managing PR for politicians is entirely different. It is not a product. There are emotions involved. There are a lot of caste, religion, region, so many factors we have to take and then design. I hardly see PR of that kind, to tell you the need. It is always, product promotion or a person promotion. It is not that you put up lights and mic on dais and then start shrieking, so and so is here, you can dance. No, that's not the case. See, for example, we have a beautiful scheme, Anna Dasoha scheme of Akshaya Patra free. When BBC can come here and do a wonderful story, media, if there is a press note, we try to set it aside. If somehow the PR people can convince the media, see the economics of free meal, midday meal, how the economy is running here. That kind of stories still, PR people, I think they need to be academically educated also. They should go beyond this publicity, self-publicity. Say, for example, you want to, be a PR to a film heroine. She herself can take 100 pictures and put it on, live coverage. She can go. Yeah. Why will she hire you? That's the thing. If you had to position her as a woman with, beauty plus brains, then you have to work. You have to make her talk like that. You have to position her like that. There it is a challenge.
See, I was talking to Bharat the other day from Manipal. He was saying it's all about placing the narratives, all those, build on those narratives that you would want.
But the narratives should be sound. If a person cannot even understand what is constitution, you make that person talk about constitution, anybody can make out that the fellow's career, he must have failed 100 times or he has not even graduated or 10th or 12th. Still he can talk about constitution if at all he is knowledgeable. Suddenly if he starts giving sermon through a PR agency, it looks very artificial.
Yeah, right.
You can't change the character of a person through all these reels or press notes. You have to build a narrative over a period. So the client should also have that kind of knowledge. How a PR works,
Even PR is not short term. It's a long term. That is why
it should be sustained.
That's why we kind of do these positioning for 3 to 6 months. That's what in the whatever bosses that I worked with, or we always we go back and tell it's building a narrative doesn't happen overnight. It is sustained. Even in when we worked with Akshay, like when I worked with Akshay Patra, I'm like, the narrative, to be on the budget story did not happen overnight. From, writing about rice and sambar, to it took over 6 years to make them as a thought leader who can comment on budgets. It
Yes.
took over it every even for that other brands in times of automobile also, nothing happens overnight. It's about sustain, for
Sustain.
about a year or two. Only then the leadership position
It is like building a character of a person, or
Absolutely.
a product has to be trusted.
Yes.
It takes a lot of time.
Yes.
PR is now PR, like journalism, it is facing a lot of challenges. How can you be better than just a publicity agent? Publicity, they themselves can manage, or any juniors. But beyond that, how do you position a person? Now narratives have to change, and they have to be guided also. So many film stars I have seen, they'll be in news for all wrong reasons. After 3 months, it's gone.
Gone.
So the 3 months, they build a different narrative.
Like how you mentioned the kind of bosses that you work, I think I was blessed with saying that it's not about going and selling something, it's going and selling a story, a narrative. That also
Yes.
it matters, right? I'm like, when you go and instead of selling a product, you go and sell a narrative, how it's going to be useful for the public or the masses.
Nilima, I never sold my story. It was always picked by the desk, Yeah, this story. In the last day, and I quit. I didn't, I resigned Deccan Herald in 17. The last day, my news editor walked up to me and he said, that was a government notification which said every college principal has to get into classroom and teach. It is impossible. They have so much work. But that was a GO. Till today, it has not been implemented. That story went as a flyer. He said, how is it possible? What sort of, he was analyzing. That's, if you have really good seniors, who, when we go wrong, if they had to point out, not criticize, make us understand the other sides. That Mr. Shant Kumar did to me a lot of times, Asha, see from this angle. He's a businessman also. He used to say that, why don't you look at from this angle? What I could pick arguments with him. I could learn a lot from him. And like that, I learned a lot from by their thought process. Nobody will mentor you in any this one. Everybody is so busy in their own, But if you can see somebody and then learn, that's the best way to.
I think we've covered most of the thing, but I wanted to ask, you're deeply rooted in from Karnataka, and I am a Bangalorean, by heart. I'm talking about the elections part of it. Our vote shares is completely, I'm like, we are still on the above average kind of a thing. And I always felt that when they give their manifestations, right, they do not, I personally feel that I think when they give their manifestations, they should add, how do you educate our voters to come and vote and turn up for vote? That is somewhere missing in manifestation. Your comments on it? Year on no, 3 election, 2014, 19 and 2022, we have seen 68% every time the voting turnout has been very less. But to increase the vote share, I'm like, just wanted to understand, what is that we could do better, that everyone comes out and vote?
Manifestos can always, politicians do appeal to people to come and vote. But tell me, Nilima, who owns Bangalore today? Nobody owns this city. Migrants don't talk about problems.
Yeah.
They use only social media to abuse or praise. Okay. Why will they walk up to polling booth to express their views? They have no stakes, they feel. Or they have nothing to do with the city sometimes, I feel. They live in their own ivory tower or their world. You go to Electronic City or Whitefield, you don't. They're not connected, deeply rooted with the city. So you own up something like it is growing in a house. You feel a house becomes home when you have emotional bonding. For example, if I go to, say, Chennai or Bihar somewhere, I'll think 100 times before voting, Do I know the city? Will I be living here? Let me. That's, citizens.
The sense of belonging is missing.
Is missing.
Yeah.
It's city of migrants. That doesn't mean that migrants should not take interest in civic issues. Earlier, we had Vatal Nagrats and so many people who used to hit streets, used to demand certain things, They used to protest. Where do you see protest today? Everything online only.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody see. There are 2,000 odd child marriages in Karnataka. Any Bangalorean is expressing that every day one girl child is getting raped. Who is expressing their mind? Nobody does. And it is very, very shocking. So this voting is only part of, and also our electoral rolls has to be revised. It has to be. So many people come in and migrate, we have so much, 1.5 crore population already. So that needs revision. Probably when we cleanse the voting list, we will have a better picture. That has not been done. So you go to New York or you come to Bangalore, you should own up the city.
Is there something that everyone should, come and just say it's my right? For me also, in a very later stage of my life, that I've learned what my, that
Right.
everywhere. And luckily, this younger generation they have a lot of access to everything.
No, they are
rights
not.
and
They are disinterested. Various reasons. They don't know whether they will live in the city or not. They don't know where they will make their which city they will make there as a home, or their jobs where they will go. So another thing, I'll ask you a question. If there is some, say, a good brand, pizza is freely going to be distributed. Don't you see a long queue?
yeah.
Isn't it? Well, if Aishwarya Rai or somebody comes here as Sunny Leon, she will inaugurate or some parlor or something. The men will queue up, right? So it is the interest which matters. It is not that everybody wants. If it is going to be useful, they do it. Why in rural areas they fight for their rights?
Yes.
Thus, Grahakshmi, women, they voted in large numbers. They knew that they have something. Later, even if Bangalore city goes for elections, it is very, very difficult to make people stir out of their home. And probably if there is a foolproof online voting system, we may see better percentage. Before that, the voting list has to be cleansed. So many people have died, and then one agency, which I worked, Rajniti, they had put up a proposal before the government. We'll do it free of cost, but nobody wants to take up the,
Got it.
there is a lot of scam there also.
Thank you so much for answering all my queries and doubts that I had to ask you, and also so much of insights that you have shared. Is there anything else that you want to share, or some advice to the new generation coming up in PR and journalism?
Advice as such, I'm not going to give, because I'm nobody to give advice to. I don't
Look,
listen.
from your experience, because Asha,
if
20
you really-
years in journalism, and with your kind of media's deep rooted research papers and all that, I think you should be giving.
No, if you really love the profession, there's not much money here, everybody knows. If you love the profession, you get into it. Otherwise, don't be a very disappointed person and then causing a lot of damage to the management. Because they hire you assuming that you love the profession, and then you'll be a frustrated lot. That is not the. And then I would like to thank all my who were my active members in my team. Today they're doing very well. One is Rakesh heads Times of India. Krishna Kumar is now assistant editor. Neena is chief reporter. Pratima, so many Arvind Gowda is doing so well in PR.
Yes.
Rajesh Parishwat. I had lovely Pala Chauhan. Still, she's active in the field, though she's much senior to me. And then I had wonderful time with working with Raghunandan, Vijesh Kamath. They all, Satish, there's a Hindu reporter. Until I used to leave office, he used to stay with me. There was no mail, and I'm talking about 15, in the last 10 years. Men never questioned my presence as a head, That is because that is the decision taken by the management. If the management is with you, then everybody will. Whenever I had problems, editor used to tell me, if you can't handle that guy, bring him to me. I will handle. That is the
kind of support.
That is the confidence I gained over the years.
Yes.
So if you really love the profession, whichever you choose, you be there. Otherwise, there are so many opportunities today. My funda, my gyan may not suit the present, because they have options today. They have plenty of options. You pick whatever you want, but give your 100%.
100%.
Definitely, you will say, okay.
Thank you so much, Asha, once again. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nilima, for having me. And you made this conversation very, very friendly.
Long pending one, right?
Long pending,
Long
yes, yes.
pending one. After a very heavy loaded conversation, I thought I want to keep it a little light and have some fun. So I have some 5 questions for you. You can just answer it the way you wanted. First one is your superpower as a political journalist.
To be honest and truthful to the facts. That's the
Politician speeches, mute button or note taking?
mute button. Both happens.
One thing you never discuss at family dinners.
News.
If you had to explain Indian politics using food, what dish would that be?
Khichdi.
Khichdi. A headline for yourself, which a positive one.
Positive one. Okay. Asha, a journalist. That defines.
Okay, all right. Thank you for taking
Yeah.
this so sportively. I hope you had fun with this.
Definitely, definitely. I always love to have fun in newsroom as well as outside.
Yes? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
All right,
nice
thank
meeting
you.
you.